History. BBC was founded in 1922 by the founding father John Reith.
In 1922, the first daily transmission was from the Selfridges building on London's Oxford Street.
The first regular news bulletin was reported and read by the Director of Programmes, Arthur Burrows. It was reported that he read the bulletin twice, one faster and one slower, then asked the listeners which they preferred.
The first outside broadcast, the first weather forecast and the first radio times was published in 1927.
The Royal Charter established BBC, making the BBC a public service corporation.
In 1927 was the first BBC prom.
In 1933, the first national announcement by a female announcer, Elizabeth Cole.
On November 2nd, 1936, the first ever TV service, BBC One, was launched.
The first broadcast of The Archers was in 1951.
The first daily television bulletin in 1954.
First TV soap launches, The Grove Family, in 1955.
And in 1958, Blue Peter began.
1960, the construction of the television centre, the first purpose-built television centre in the world.
Doctor Who begins, the longest-running science fiction in the world, in 1963.
BBC Two launches in colour in the UK, 1967.
Doctor Who relaunches in 2005.
BBC iPlayer launches television in 2007.
BBC One. BBC One is the BBC's flagship television channel. BBC One broadcasts many programmes ranging in many genres, from news to drama and factual to religion and ethics. These programmes are targeted to a large target audience, but they do have set times during term time where they broadcast programmes that are targeted to a younger audience. These programmes you would typically find on the CBC channel. They broadcast programmes like EastEnders, Panorama, Sherlock and The Graham Norton Show.
BBC Two is a mixed genre channel with an older target audience. They broadcast programmes like Top Gear, University Challenge, Helicopter Heroes and The Culture Show.
BBC Three pride themselves on producing provoking and entertaining programmes. They also pride themselves in knowing their audience from their habits to their sense of humour. They produce some award-winning programmes such as Gavin and Stacey.
BBC Four specialise in UK and international arts, from paintings to films. They believe they produce high-quality programmes that are intellectually and culturally enriching.
CBBC is a digital channel that is dedicated on creating and broadcasting TV programmes for their target audience shows like the Sarah Jane Adventures, Arthur and Copycats.
CBeebies is another digital channel dedicated to a younger target audience, but their audience age tends to under sixes, so they produce entertaining but educating shows like Alpha Blocks, Charlie and Lola and Jack and Ori Jr.
They also have channels like BBC News, a 24-hour news channel, BBC Parliament, the UK's only channel solely for politics, and BBC Alba, a channel for the Gaelic audience in Scotland.
BBC Radio 1 launched in 1967. Tony Blackburn was the first DJ. They broadcast towards the target audience of 15 to 29 years old. How they target this audience is by tailored news, documentaries and advice campaign for all the younger audience. The station have presenters ranging from the morning presenters Chris Moyles to BBC Radio 1's review show with Nahal. They also have a sister channel, BBC Radio 1 Extra, which was launched in 2002 and aimed to broadcast brand new black music combined with entertainment, documentaries and news. They have a target audience whose age ranges from 15 to 24 years old.
BBC Radio 2 prides itself in creating a mix of what they call a unique mix of distinctive music and speech programmes. They also cover a varied mix of live concerts which include pop and rock.
BBC Three calls itself the home of the BBC's arts and cultural broadcasting. They are best known for their classical music. They also are known for making programmes about jazz and world music, also a number of documentaries and dramas.
BBC Radio 4 is a varied radio station. They offer in-depth view on news and current affairs. They also offer a large range of speech programmes like dramas such as The Archers, comedies such as Cabin Pressure, readings such as Book of the Week and much more.
BBC Radio 4 Extra, previously Radio 7, is one of the BBC's digital radio channels. The BBC use this as a primary outlet for archive shows, but they do have some new shows such as Ambridge Extra.
BBC Radio 5 Live prides themselves on broadcasting continuous news and live sports coverage. They also have a brother station, BBC 5 Live Extra, which has a greater choice of live sports with extended live coverage.
BBC Radio 6 Music is a digital music station that broadcasts music from all eras, ranging from the 60s to the present day.
BBC Asian Network is targeted to the Asian communities across England, letting them voice their opinions about the problems that affect them. They also play their music which is related to their audience.
BBC Nations and Local Radio. The BBC have over 40 regional radio stations across the United Kingdom.
Online, BBC have a website for each one of the channels and radio stations that also have an online catch-up service.